The curtains of night drew open, and I welcomed you to this evening's tale. Before we begin, I must express my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you who has supported me throughout this journey. Your messages, your warnings, your loyalty, it's all been instrumental in helping me navigate the twists and turns of this wild ride. And now, as we settle in for the night, I invite you to join me on a journey to a world of forgotten dreams, where the boundaries between life and death are blurred, and the human spirit is tested to its limits. In a small, damp apartment, Camille Falk lay shrouded in darkness, her body a mere shadow of its former self. Once a talented artist, she had lost her touch, her passion, and her will to live. The weight of her struggles threatened to consume her, like a slow-moving tide that refuses to recede. She had given up on life, lost in a sea of despair and hopelessness. But then, something changed. Philibert, a peculiar man with a heart of gold, entered her life, bringing with him a sense of purpose and belonging. He was an unlikely savior, with his eccentric ways and mannerisms, but Camille found solace in his gentle touch and kind words. Together, they formed an unlikely trio, joined by Frank, a rough-around-the-edges chef who had lost his way in life. As the days passed, Camille began to reawaken, her spark slowly reigniting like a pilot light on a cold winter's night. She started to draw again, her pencil scratching out tentative lines on the paper, as if searching for meaning in a world that had lost its way. But her progress was slow, and she knew that she couldn't do it alone. Paulette, an elderly woman who lived in the same building, had also been ravaged by the cruel hand of fate. She lay in her bed, a prisoner of her own frailty, her once vibrant spirit reduced to a mere flicker. But despite her physical decline, her heart still beat strong, and her eyes still shone with a deep sadness. As the seasons changed, and the world outside grew colder, the four of them found themselves drawn together, bound by ties of friendship, compassion, and a shared sense of struggle. They formed a fragile, makeshift family, stitched together by the threads of their own vulnerability. And yet, despite the odds against them, they found a way to thrive, to find beauty in the brokenness, and to forge a sense of community in the face of adversity. They laughed together, cried together, and supported each other through the darkest of times. As the night wears on, and the moon rises high in the sky, I invite you to join me on this journey, to enter the world of these broken souls, and to find solace in their struggles, their triumphs, and their quiet moments of beauty. For in the end, it is not the grand gestures that define us, but the small, quiet acts of kindness, of compassion, and of love. In the dimly lit apartment, the air was thick with the scent of medicine and soup. The sounds of the city outside faded into the background, replaced by the soft beeps of medical equipment and the occasional rustling of sheets. Amidst this quiet chaos, a peculiar rhythm had taken hold. Frank, Camille, and Philibert had formed an unlikely trio, bound together by their care for Paulette. The days blended together in a haze of medication, meals, and gentle conversations. Paulette, once a vibrant presence, had grown weaker, her eyes clouding over with a fragile, ethereal light. Camille, with her gentle touch and soothing voice, had become the linchpin of their little family. Philibert, the quiet, studious one, found solace in his books and his own company. Frank, the rough around the edges one, struggled to contain his emotions, often exploding in frustration, but ultimately softening to reveal a deep well of tenderness. As Paulette's condition worsened, the trio's routines became more rigid, with Frank taking on more responsibilities, juggling his work and caregiving duties with a quiet determination. Camille, with her artistic touch, brought color to their lives, crafting beautiful, intricate patterns with her fingers, and whispering sweet nothings into Paulette's ear. Philibert, lost in his own world, found comfort in his books, and the occasional whispered phrase from Camille. One day, Paulette's presence became more a memory than a reality. Her eyes, once bright with life, had dimmed, and her voice, once full of warmth, had grown faint. Frank, sensing the end was near, retreated into his own world, unable to face the impending loss. Camille, with her gentle strength, held Paulette's hand, whispering soft words of comfort, as the silence grew thicker, heavy with tears and unspoken emotions. After Paulette's passing, the apartment, once a hub of activity, seemed to shrink, as if the very walls were mourning the loss. Frank, still reeling from the blow, found solace in his own company, unable to face the others. Camille, with her quiet resilience, continued to tend the garden, her fingers tracing the delicate patterns, as if searching for a way to ease the pain. Philibert, lost in his own thoughts, whispered soft phrases, his eyes welling up with tears, as the silence stretched on, like a heavy mist that refused to lift. As the days turned into weeks, Frank began to stir, his emotions slowly coming to the surface. He would often find himself lost in thought, his gaze drifting towards Camille, who, with her quiet strength, had become the anchor that held them all together. One day, as they sat in the kitchen, the silence between them grew thicker, heavy with unspoken emotions. Frank reached out, his hand trembling, and took Camille's, his fingers intertwining with hers like the threads of a tapestry. The moment hung suspended, like a promise, as the city outside hummed with life, oblivious to the quiet revolution that was unfolding in that small, dimly lit apartment. As the seasons passed, Camille began to fade, her presence growing more ethereal, her touch, once so gentle, now like a whispered promise. Frank, still reeling from the loss, found himself drawn to her, as if to the warmth of a dying ember. Philibert, too, sensed the end was near, his eyes clouding over with tears, as he whispered soft phrases, his voice barely audible, but full of love. And so, Camille slipped away, leaving behind a trail of memories, like the delicate patterns she had woven with her fingers. Frank, with his rough edges, was left to navigate the world, alone, but not without the gentle touch of her hand, guiding him forward, like a beacon in the darkness. As she stepped into her old bedroom, Camille felt the weight of her past lingering in the air. The posters on the wall, the books on the shelves, the lamp with its cracked shade, everything was frozen in time, as if the clock had stopped ticking on the day she left. She had cried silently, the tears falling like raindrops on the worn carpet. The next morning, she had ventured out into the streets of her childhood, retracing the familiar paths of her youth. The park, the school, the bakery where she would visit every Wednesday, everything seemed smaller, grayer, and more worn out than she had remembered. She sat on a bench for a long time, watching the pigeons peck at crumbs, the passers-by hurrying to their destinations, and the sky above, a canvas of clouds and pale blue. Her thoughts wandered to Frank, to his clumsy silences, his rough hands, and his tender, brutal love. She thought of Philibert, with his gentle voice, his delicate mannerisms, and his hidden courage. And Paulette, with her empty bed, her neatly folded sheets, and her silence, which was a symphony of memories and regrets. Camille had come to realize that she was no longer afraid. She had left her mother's house, her past, and her doubts behind. She had found a new path, a new home, and a new sense of purpose. Her return was not a grand, dramatic gesture, but a quiet, deliberate choice. She had walked back into the apartment, into the familiar rhythms of life, and into the arms of those she loved. Frank, too, had changed. His eyes, once distant and cold, now held a warmth and a softness that surprised her. His hands, once rough and unyielding, now held a gentleness that was both surprising and reassuring. And Philibert, the man who had once been a stranger, now shone with a newfound confidence, a newfound passion, and a newfound sense of self. As they sat in the kitchen, drinking coffee and eating breakfast, Camille felt a sense of peace settle over her. She had found her place, her voice, and her heart. She had learned to draw, to paint, and to speak without words. Frank and Philibert, too, had found their own paths, their own voices, and their own sense of purpose. One day, Frank took her to a small atelier in the 11th arrondissement, where artists gathered to draw and paint. Camille had never told him about her newfound passion, and he had stumbled upon her secret by accident. She smiled, feeling a sense of wonder and gratitude, as he watched her work, his eyes filled with a quiet admiration. They sat in the kitchen, eating dinner, and talking about their dreams, their fears, and their hopes. They laughed, they argued, and they made up, their love growing stronger with each passing day. They took long walks, holding hands, and talking about their past, their present, and their future. And then, one day, they decided to visit Paulette's grave, to pay their respects, to remember, and to let go. They brought flowers, and they sang silly songs, their voices carrying across the quiet cemetery. They knew they were different, that their love was imperfect, and that they still had a long way to go. But they also knew that they had found something special, something that was worth fighting for. As they walked back to the car, Frank turned to Camille and took her hand. "Where?" he asked, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "You'll see," she replied, smiling, as they drove off into the unknown, their love, their art, and their future unfolding like a canvas of endless possibilities. In the end, it was not a grand, dramatic gesture that had saved them, but 1,000 small, everyday moments of love, of laughter, of tears, and of imperfection. It was the quiet, gentle beauty of their lives, the soft, golden light of their love, and the whispered words of their hearts that had brought them together, and had set them free. As the words came to a close, a gentle whisper began to weave its way into your consciousness, guiding you towards a profound and restorative slumber. The soft rustle of leaves, the sweet scent of blooming flowers, and the soothing hum of nature's lullaby all blended together to create a serene atmosphere that enveloped you in its calming embrace. As you drifted off into the realm of dreams, the world outside faded away, leaving only the gentle lapping of waves against the shore and the soft chirping of crickets to serenade you into a state of deep relaxation. Your worries, like wispy clouds, dissipated into the horizon, leaving behind a peaceful stillness that filled your very being. As you slipped deeper into the realm of dreams, the world around you transformed into a vibrant tapestry of colors and textures. Soft, fluffy clouds morphed into towering mountains, and the gentle rustle of leaves became the soft whispers of ancient secrets. Every fiber of your being was attuned to the gentle rhythm of the universe, and your mind became a canvas upon which the vibrant hues of imagination were painted. And yet, even as you surrendered to the allure of the dream world, a subtle thread of awareness remained, connecting you to the world of the waking. For in the depths of your slumber, a gentle voice whispered words of encouragement, urging you to hold fast to the beauty and wonder that lay just beyond the horizon. As you drifted further into the realm of dreams, the world outside receded further into the distance, leaving behind only the soft glow of moonlight and the gentle lapping of waves against the shore. And in this quiet, peaceful space, you found yourself wrapped in the tender embrace of serenity, your heart filled with a sense of wonder and awe. As you finally succumbed to the allure of the dream world, you knew that you would awaken refreshed, renewed, and rejuvenated, ready to face the challenges of the day with a sense of calm and clarity. For in the realm of dreams, the gentle whispers of the universe had woven a tapestry of peace and tranquility, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, beauty and wonder lay just beyond the horizon. And so, as you drifted off into the realm of dreams, the world outside faded away, leaving behind only the soft rustle of leaves, the gentle chirping of crickets, and the soothing hum of nature's lullaby. For in this peaceful, serene space, you knew that you would find solace, comfort, and the gentle guidance of the universe, whispering words of encouragement and wisdom into the depths of your soul.